Hello and welcome back. Happy 2026 Who Asked Me podcast. I'm so happy to be back recording with y'all. Listen, I decided that it was time to take a little hiatus over the holidays because, as most of you know, I started a new job in November. And training was taking me out. Okay. I was definitely exhausted. And then with the holidays coming up, of course, we got busy. We had so many events. So I was like, okay, we're going to have to go on holiday hiatus. I did pop into a few podcasts over on Bitches Better. And I was on another one. Honestly, I can't even remember right now. But I said, you know what? It's time to get back. I'm done with training. I'm more settled into my new job. I'm really excited for that. And I have so much that I want to talk to everybody about. First things first. So, excuse me, some housekeeping. We are, down to the same recipe. Of course, we're always going to be talking about pop culture. We're always going to be talking about reality TV shows, but we are also going to add in some unscripted, okay, which isn't new. We've talked about White Lotus over here. We've talked about other shows that I can't think. Euphoria. Oh my God, Euphoria. Trailer is dropping tomorrow. And y'all know how I feel about that, okay? Euphoria is another show, much like Stranger Things, that the last season of Euphoria that came out, I was engaged. I'm divorced now. That's too long. That's too long. That's not okay. Right? Am I going to watch it? Yeah, of course I'm going to see like what's going on over there, but I did finish Stranger Things, and while I bitched and complained all through parts 1 and part 2, that final episode, it really got me. It really got me. Do I think that there were some plot holes? Yes, because like the military just disappeared. I get it. The military disappeared because Elle disappeared, and that was why she said like I have to go. You know what I mean? That's why it had to be her. But I still was like, okay, I think we could have rounded that out a little bit more. But anyways, we're going to be talking scripted and we're going to be talking books, okay? And you may be like, girl, I didn't know you read. First of all, yes. Some of y'all may not know this. I loved reading as a kid. I loved reading as a kid so much. And please, before you start to possibly drag me, understand that I was in 4th grade, okay? When I was in 4th grade, a long time ago, the kids that kind of needed some extra attention with like reading and writing, they went to my elementary school. Was so weird, not weird, but like the layout was different. It had like a lofted area and there were no classrooms. It was an open concept, so you could very much so hear what was going on in the next quote unquote classroom. Everything was separated by like bookshelves. And then there was a lofted area. They went up these like swirly steps and there was like, they went up there and read. And what I understood was that they went up there and read, and me putting my like brain together, I just wanted to read extra. So I pretended to not be able to read that well so I could go up there and get to read extra. And then they caught on to me and they were like, you're fine, go back downstairs. But that's how much I used to like to read. And I do still either read or listen to an audiobook, especially when I'm working. A lot of times I will listen to music sometimes when I'm at work, but if I'm like zoned in, if I have to lock in, I can't really listen to music because I get too focused on like skipping. No, I don't want to listen to this. Oh, this, and it just takes a lot. So anyways, I read the Heated Rivalry books, and we're gonna get into that. And I've read some other books since those two, and I feel like I've really refound my love for reading. So we will definitely be doing like a little book club corner here over on the pod in this new year. But for now, let's get into a few things. We had the Golden Globes this past week, and listen, I'm not gonna lie to you. Some of like the film and television discourse from like the elite can get exhausting to me, so I really wasn't that plugged in. Miss Tiana Taylor won. I'm so happy for her. I love Tiana Taylor. Am I going to watch the movie? No, I'm not. It's just not something that I'm interested in. The movie is not something that I was interested in, but I'm always rooting for her, rooting for my girlies. Love that for her. I see that a lot of people are talking about it, and I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. I watched half of Sinners. It's just not, that's not a movie that I would watch in the first place, okay? I'm really, really sensitive to a lot of things, especially things that are set back in like the days of not, maybe not slavery, like especially slavery, but right after slavery. I don't like watching things like that. And I know it's about vampires and the, all of that stuff. I get it. I get the story. It's just not a movie that I'm interested in. I hear and I don't like, I'm not contributing to the discourse of Sinners because I know that it's not a movie that I'm interested in. You know what I mean? But I love Ryan Coogler. Okay. And I love Michael B. Jordan. I love all of the people that were in that movie. I heard that it's amazing. I take everybody's word for it. Just, I'm not a film critic. Okay. Y'all know I love a rom-com. I love a rom-com. I will enjoy a good Fast and Furious movie. The movies that I enjoy, they're not winning awards. The movies that I truly enjoy, they're not winning awards. And you know what? That's okay. I was just talking to Raven and Hannah about this the other day. Every movie doesn't need to be Academy worthy. Was The Wedding Planner with J-Lo and Matthew McConaughey an Academy worthy movie? No. But I love that movie. And it's the non-Academy movies, they're what make the world go round. It what keeps us balanced, okay? And they will always have a fan out of me. Speaking of a rom-com and a non-Academy movie that I just loved. And you know what? I love a movie that we don't need to deep too much either. I love it, okay? I watched People We Meet on Vacation. When I tell y'all, I was kicking my feet and giggling watching that damn movie. I love a rom-com. I love rom-coms, okay? I truly, truly do. Me and Hannah A. Brown, you all know my girl, we can talk about rom-coms over and over and over. Like, we love them, okay? And I did read People We Meet on Vacation, and I will say this. I like Emily Henry. I like her books. I was not that impressed with the book People We Meet on Vacation. However, the movie I really, really enjoyed. And I will say it's a me thing. It's not that I think that, the story is bad in anything. However, for me, when I was reading People We Meet on Vacation, if you've seen it or you've read it, it has time jumps in it. So it's like this summer, 8 summers ago, this summer, 2 summers ago, last summer. Like, it's not consecutive like Heated Rivalry was, where you go, you know what I mean, like 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's like back and forth. And for me, I was just like, okay, wait, what summer are we in again? When was this again? Like, so that's why reading it, I was like, but movie, I was like, okay, I got this. I know what summer we in. You know what I mean? Tom Blythe. Oh, what a cutie patootie. Oh my God. I was like, look at him. That dancing montage scene, again, kicking my feet. Kicking my damn feet. And you know what? Some people are deeping it. They're like, okay, but if you had a significant other and they told you that they were going on a non-negotiable trip with their best friend of the opposite sex, would you be okay with that? No, I wouldn't. Duh. This isn't my life. It's a movie. I'm not trying to make that my life. I just like to watch it. I feel like we need to, everything doesn't need to be like super relatable. You know what I mean? Obviously, if you watch the movie, you read the book, you know that Alex has his on and off girlfriend, Sarah. They never work out. Sarah is like, why are they not working out? Obviously, because of, what's her name? God, Alex and Poppy. Oh my God, I just had a brain fart. Poppy are friends, platonic friends, but there's clearly feelings there. This is not real life. And sometimes, like, listen, when I read books, I do dabble in the romance genre. I will say, like, romance and mystery. The book that I'm about to read next is more along mystery. My friend recommended it to me, so I have to see what the name is. I think maybe it's called Birthday Girl. I can't remember off the top of my head, but when you read romance, I love a happily ever after. Okay. We don't need to get too into the details. Like, I don't want to say it's fantasy because that is actually like a whole different, like genre of book. But sometimes I'm just like, y'all, no, it's not realistic. No, I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, go on a fucking trip without me with your platonic girlfriend. No. No, I'm not going to be having that shit. But for the movie purposes, for Alex and Poppy, who are two fictional characters who are not real, love it for them. Love it for them. Love it for Emily Henry. Kudos, girl. 10 out of 10. And that red dress that Poppy had on at that wedding, oh, loved it. Loved it. Loved it. I was a fan. Okay. Now I've gotten off kilter a little bit, so we're going to bring this train back. I do want to talk about a couple of topics. First things first. I cannot get this out of my head because I'm just even though these people should not shock me anymore, they still do. Nick Viall and his wife, Natalie, y'all know I don't even like Austin Kroll. I do not like Austin Kroll. However, the clip of him on the Viall Files and Natalie talking to him and being like, so tell me about this cliff your sister fell off of. If you don't know, Austin Kroll had a sister, an older sister that passed away before his younger sister was born. And they, from what I understand, they were on a family hike and she fell from a cliff. You know what I mean? That's all we need to know. I'm not going to ask somebody to relive. I remember when I heard that for the first time, my mouth dropped. That's so traumatic on so many different levels. I was like, oh my God. Natalie is interviewing him and she's like, so tell me about this cliff. What the fuck do you want to know about the cliff? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? It's a cliff. My sister fell off of it. It was very hard for me and my family. And why are you approaching it like, so tell me about what happened between you and Sierra. And I think what it stems from is like Natalie and Nick really think that I feel like they try to position themselves as podcasters who are so unbiased, even though they're not. They're so able to like relate and talk to anybody and make anybody feel comfortable, and they can stay so even kiltered and so like we are the interviewers. You're not. Okay? You're not. I'm going to say it again. You're not. That was, I can't stand Austin. That has nothing. Even though I can't stand him, I'm not going to discount the trauma that his family went through. And I would never even ever ask somebody that, my worst enemy, something like that. Like, are you okay? The answer is no. I also keep I have blocked that podcast, like on TikTok. And yes, I know I didn't have to. I did it for personal gain. I did it for, content, but I have listened to his interviews or their interviews with like Jesse from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives and the Love Island cast. I did it for personal gain, but my God, it was tough to get through their interviews. So I'm just like, in 2026, can we leave them behind? Summer House premieres in 3 weeks, right? It's our 10th season. I'm so excited. Y'all know I love me some Summer House. And while we were on hiatus, tweets started circulating that maybe Amanda and Kyle are going through a separation. We can't really tell because they apparently just got done filming their spinoff In the City. Y'all, wasn't In the City, isn't that another show? I could have sworn there was another reality TV show, not The City. I'm not thinking of The City with Whitney from The Hills or anything, but I feel like there was another reality show called In the City. However, they apparently were filming it until the day before they left for BravoCon. And the comment that Kyle gave was like, we are very much still together. We're just going through a hard time in our relationship. And I'm sorry. Even when Kyle and Amanda aren't going through a difficult time in their relationship, it's just because Amanda's not like saying anything. Maybe she is like, and listen, I'm an SSRI baddie myself. I'm on Lexapro. I don't know if she is like settling into her dosage and she's just like, oh, I'm good. I don't care about anything because been there, right? And she's just not bothering him and letting him do whatever. And that's not like, okay. And I feel like the DJing really took her over the edge. It would take me over the edge too. I feel like I saw one video of Amanda like dancing in the DJ booth next to Kyle. And I could tell that she was putting on a face for him, but I felt like on the inside, she was like, what am I doing? What am I doing? And girl, we saw in the trailer that she's like, I ask him to come home more, and what does he do? Or be home more, and what does he do? He gets a hobby, takes up a new hobby or a new, I don't want to call DJing a business venture, but that keeps him out late at night. If you're listening to this on audio, I'm slow blinking because I believe in people stating their needs in all aspects of life, relationships, friendships, work, all that. You need to state your needs, right? If I state my needs, and my needs are that you are home at a decent hour, and that you are home more, and then you go and take up something that keeps you out of the home more, I've gotten the answer that I need. I've gotten the answer that I need. But it has also been, Katie Maloney said on Disrespectfully podcast, she gave like a really, really good, I don't want to say explanation, but kind of. She said that Amanda and Kyle remind her a lot of her and Tom, and that for a long time she was just like, this is how it is. Like, I'm used to it. This is how Tom is, blah, blah, blah. And you realize like that's not how it has to be though, and you're not happy. Oh, and on that clip, Amanda commented and was like, love you, heart. And Katie was respectful. She was like, I love both of them and I just want them to be happy. It's just, I do recognize things that I have lived. So I was like, interesting. I feel like they're keeping it under wraps. Because Amanda's a pretty private person in the first place, but I do also think that they're keeping it under wraps for the show. So we will see. They're dedicated. They are dedicated. And I'm excited for Summer House to move into a new direction, maybe not with the OG cast, but I'm definitely here for the city and everything that we see. Moving on. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is so bad. It's so bad, guys. I I was like, what am I watching? What am I watching? I don't know, because it's a whole bunch of nothing, right? We finally get like some sort of explanation from Kyle about what's that girl's name? Morgan. And like, I will say, y'all know that I have plenty of critiques about Kyle. I do feel for her when it comes to the Morgan of it all, because I think from what Kyle has shared and what we've seen, I think that ultimately Morgan, it's just like, girl, what? So Kyle never says that this is Morgan, but we know who she's talking about. She says that Morgan, if it were up to her, she would have been honest about the relationship that she was in. She says that she was in love and that Morgan just does not want to be a part of the spotlight. And here's my thing. If you really, truly do not want to be a part of the spotlight, then you would not have been on the show. You would have not been getting matching tattoos or tattoos with Kyle. You wouldn't have done anything like that. And I have friends that listen to country music and they actually do know who Morgan is. I don't think that she needed Real Housewives of Beverly Hills to get her popularity in general, but I think that it gained her put her in the realm of another fandom. Because I will say, I listened to a couple of her songs. She has like one or two songs that I actually really do like, but had I seen her on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, would I have listened to those songs? Probably not. Y'all know I love Kelsea Ballerini. I like I'm not a country music girl, but there's like Kelsea Ballerini-esque. I think, I don't like Lainey Wilson, but my old job had a Touch Tunes and it had commercials on it, and she always would come to me like, hi, I'm Lainey Wilson. So I used to, like, me and my old coworkers, she'd be like, hi, I'm Lainey Wilson. But anyways, off topic. Yeah, I think it didn't hurt, but I mean, it comes with price. I'm just like, what did you think was going to happen, Morgan? What did you think? And listen, I know some of y'all are like, oh, you're going so easy on Kyle. If you've never been in a Willa Woo, the Women Love Women community, once you dip your foot in that first girl on girl heartbreak, it's bad. You feel like you're going crazy. It's bad. I'm going to say it again. It's bad. Okay. And Kyle is a woman of a certain age. So I feel like That was maybe a little bit rough on her. I believed those tears. Apparently her and Mauricio were seen being like touchy feely, huggy huggy. I'm not interested in that. I think they are so far over, and I'm not interested in anybody trying to be like, she embarrassed Mauricio. Mauricio has been rumored to be have been cheating for a long time. Long time. And even like the last episode of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills I watched, I remember Kyle said, like, they said, who are you interested in? She was like, somebody who likes sex. Um, that tells me that maybe her and Mauricio weren't. You know what I mean? But the season is bad. The women are boring. They don't want to talk about anything. Erica is like, we want to know the tea, girl, to Garcelle before she left. And she's like, I don't really have anything to tell you. I was dating somebody. It didn't work out. Now there's no one. And now Erica's apparently dating someone. And she's like, I want to keep that close to my chest. Oh, do you? Do you? Huh, interesting. Huh. Amanda, that woman is a grifter. That woman is a grifter. If you know anybody who has paid for any of Amanda's courses, please tell them to slide in my DMs. Not because I want to like tell a story, not because I want to be salacious in any part. I truly want to know, what did you pay for? What was it like, and what did you learn? And how, did money start attracting? Like, did you start attracting money after you paid for her courses? Because seriously, like, oh my God. Apparently Nene is officially coming back to Bravo. She is going to be on the Ultimate Girls Trip cross country. So they're going to like start on either the East Coast or West Coast and drive across the country and do some filming. And it's kind of, from what I understand, going to be like a Housewives over the years dedication. This is where we were. These are the icons, et cetera, et cetera. Of course, I'm excited. I absolutely want to see Nene back on Real Housewives of Atlanta, right? But this is a start, so I'm excited for her. But let's move into, it's the right now. Oh my gosh. Let's move into Real Housewives of Potomac. Listen, I feel like we're nearing the end of this season, and I don't think that this season was bad at all. I really, really don't. I cannot wait for this reunion because so much has transpired since this season started, between Karen getting out of jail, Wendy and Eddie potentially going to jail. I cannot wait to see what this reunion brings. But what I feel like what we're having right now is there are a lot of people trying to stand up for Angel because they feel like she's being picked on. And I'm not saying that Angel isn't being picked on, right, by the women. However, I also think that this is not the show for Angel. I really don't. I think that Angel and Bobby would be good on like an HGTV. A lot of people were saying WAGs, but I don't even think that Angel would be good on a WAGs because I'm seeing her in a ensemble cast right now. And to be in an ensemble cast, whether it's WAGs or not, and I watched WAGs, I watched like so many WAG shows. I know that when you're a more tenured WAG spouse of an NFL or athlete, it gets you more respect. However, if you're only going to be able to work with people who are going to like respect some type of social hierarchy when it comes to NFL players, athletes, I don't really think you can carry a show. I'm sorry, I'm just going to be honest. And that's fine. It's no diss to the woman. It's no like disrespect. I just don't think this is the show for her. I really, really don't. She was teed up so many times these last two episodes to be shady towards Gizelle. And to her, she's like, that's not the person I am. When they go low, I go high. I have no problem with that. Go as high as you need to, mama. But you're on Real Housewives of Potomac. Real Housewives of Potomac. Bobby said on Watch What Happens Live, Angel is who these women placate to be. I'm all for your spouse standing up for you. I think that's 100% what he should have said, but she's on the Real Housewives of Potomac. That has, what are we in, season 10, 11 of this show? Did you not study? Did you not know what she was getting into? And when they say what these women want to be, I will say this. Gizelle, I do think that if Gizelle continued to let Jamal cheat in peace, she could still be married. That's not the marriage she wants to be a part of, right? I understand that there are some people who think that being a wife and a mother and, being a wife to a very rich man is something that they aspire to be. It's not what everybody aspires to be. I think these women, they are in a different tax bracket than I am. Like, I'm not broke, okay? But these women aren't broke. You know what I mean? So when he said that, again, I think that is the answer I expect from a husband protecting his wife. I actually don't think there's anything wrong with Angel and Bobby's marriage, but I also don't think that it's the marriage that everybody wants to be in. And from what I see, the women online, the people online that are so quick to like be like, I know that's right, Bobby. I know that's right, Angel. A family man, a blah, blah, blah. How do I want to say this? That's what you and I listen, I want kids. I really do. I value partnership. It's just I also know that every space isn't for me. Okay? And I don't think that somebody disagreeing with me or not jiving with me on a friendship level, I don't necessarily think it's because they're jealous. I don't think that the women are jealous of Angel. I think they don't understand her. I think their way of going about understanding her is petty. Giselle is petty. But again, this is not just an Angel thing. And I think that's kind of what's irritating me about it too. This is not only an Angel thing. We have seen Giselle do this to so many people. So for me, I would think that the avenue that she would want to go is like, Giselle, I've seen you be a bully to so many people, and she would check her that way instead of, you can still see that Angel very much so wants Giselle's approval. And the little room stunt and the little checkings, I feel like instead of like truly trying to check Giselle and be like, what's that? I'm gonna back you up. Instead of doing that, it's because she's like, okay, see, I get it. She's still searching for approval from them. And that's what I'm just like, and like, girl, I just also don't think so. And listen, in real life, would you be around people who were like gossiping with you like this? No. Would you be around people that you truly don't get along with like this? No. This is reality TV. It's an ensemble cast, right? You were casted. This isn't your like true friend group. But she gets so shaken, and I think that's these ladies' way of like testing her. She gets so shaken by the bare minimum of gossip. So, for example, in Nevis, when Jazzy was like, "Oh, I know this woman," and she said that you weren't the nicest to her. And she was like, I'm about to flip out. I'm about to flip out. And she tells us a story about, this woman saying that she stole however much money from Bobby. It's pretty much she was trying to seduce and scheme him. Okay, well, girl, you and Bobby got 2, 3 kids. You've been together for like, what, 10, 15 years now? Even if you were trying to seduce and scheme him, you seduced and you schemed. And that's your husband and he believes you. If you weren't trying to seduce and scheme him, guess what? That's your husband and he believes you. Either way, you won. Either way, you won. If he didn't believe it back then when it was happening, before the 3 kids, before all of this, he's like, what's going to turn around and make him believe it now? You know what I mean? I definitely get, not like nobody wants to be talked to about that, but that shit, I would be like, okay, I don't care. I got my husband, I got my kids, I got my man. Period. Same thing with the $1,000 worth of rent. Listen, wouldn't we all pay $1,000 worth of rent if we could? I know I would. I know I would. I was thinking the other day, my first apartment when I was 20, nope, no, no. Well, no, my first apartment by myself. I moved out when I was 19. My first apartment, and I had a roommate. My first apartment by myself, I think I just turned 21. Yeah. Did I? I was 20. I was 20, but then I think it was, I turned 21 like a couple months into that. My rent was $650 by myself. And I was working 2, 3 jobs back then to make that. And I was in school. Do you know I would love to pay $650 total for rent now. Okay. And it looked like it was $14,000. Wanting to pay $1,000 worth of rent, but it looked like it's $14,000. That's what everybody wants. It's not really believable, and it's definitely not anything worth like getting as worked up as she did. And I think that's what some of the women are trying to say, like, Angel, in this world, not just even us, but in this world of housewives, people start digging. People outside of the show, they start digging. So if this is working you up like this, you're not cut out for it. And I have to agree. And I would agree too. There's certain things in my life that I don't know if I would really love if it came to light. Y'all know that I would do, if the opportunity presented itself, I would do reality TV in a heartbeat with the right opportunity. I do think sometimes, since that's something that I think I want, I do think like, would I be okay if XYZ came out, if this came out, if this came out? I don't know. Now, do I have anything so bad in my closet that I don't think that I could handle it? No. I would feel fairly confident crossing that bridge when I got there. But I think that's part of the things that, the women are trying to say. And the people that are like, oh, she can have whoever she wants at her house and put them up wherever she wants, blah, blah. If I will tell you, it would have been a gag had she done that and the house was like on the same property or right up the street or anything like that. It was an hour away, and you absolutely do not invite me somewhere and I didn't got no running water. They said on the after show that they couldn't flush the toilet. So I can't wash my ass and I can't take a shit in the place that I'm staying. You have me fucked up. You have me fucked up. When we all know when we travel, sometimes things get backed up. Things stop, right? And then when you gotta go, you gotta go. Traveling belly, it's a whole nother thing. And then I can't flush it. I'm getting mad. I'm getting mad for them. Don't put me nowhere where I can't wash my ass or flush a toilet. No, don't do it. Oh my goodness. And lastly, Salt Lake City. Child. Heather just couldn't leave well enough alone. Bad weather couldn't leave well enough alone because Meredith is doing interviews, and Monica Garcia, which, listen, Monica, if you ever see this, you need to start naming names. Do not come on Beyonce's internet one more time and be like, oh, but what about who had to get their stomach pumped? What about, say their names. Tell me who you're talking about. I don't want to, tell me right now. You're not even on the show. You're not under any contract. Don't be fake big and bad, okay? Say it with your chest. But I think it's Heather. I mean, it's Heather or Whitney. Somebody got rushed to the hospital because they were so sick from drinking. Let me tell you this. And this is what I was saying when I was like, Mary, I know we all love Mary, all these things, et cetera, et cetera. She's kind of the voice of reason. I don't love the way Mary went about the whole Meredith thing. Listen, I've called Meredith Benzo Barbie so many times. Definitely think Meredith's behavior is odd. I also think that Meredith is meticulous. She's manipulative. I don't doubt those things. However, you are absolutely not going to talk about me and my alleged substance abuse when we do have somebody on the cast who had to be taken to the hospital for drinking. You will not talk about me like that. And I also think that one thing that people are missing is that to be concerned about someone and their substance abuse is one thing, and it's fine to be a friend. You don't discuss that on national TV. There's a line for me, in my personal opinion. If you are worried about me and my substance abuse, you are not a friend to me if you are only talking to me about it on national TV when there's a camera. So I have to side with Meredith and Lisa on that. I truly, truly do. Bronwyn, she flopped for me on this season finale because you are literally sitting here. I truly don't care if Meredith asked her, hey, come to my room. Let me ask you something. Did you talk about me at lunch? Why? First of all, you're on Housewives. You're on Housewives. That's the name of the fucking game. Secondly, you have proven yourself to be a fucking blabbermouth. So of course I'm going to go to you. You have already told me the shit that these women have talked about me again. So of course I'm going to fucking ask you, was so-and-so talking about me? What'd you talk about at lunch? Even if that is exactly how it went down, I don't blame Meredith for that. But Meredith saying that Bronwyn was nervous because, certain things were filmed. She was having conversations that, she's nervous to be on TV. Girl, again, what did I just say about Monica Garcia? Say it with your chest. Say it with your chest, okay? Say it or don't. Say it or don't. Don't piss me off. I'm just kidding. But it should be a very interesting reunion. Heather is just floppiana. I can't say it enough. And if you've listened to me, I said it back then and I've continued to say it since that season 4 finale. Receipt proof timeline screenshots was the worst thing to happen to Heather as a housewife because it blew her head up so much that she thinks that she needs to have a monologue every season finale now. She thinks that she is the voice of reason and there's no reasoning with her. That's all I got to say. Now, we're going to move on to some unscripted. I started the show Industry after a lot of recommendations. I think Kendrick was the ultimate deciding factor in me deciding to start Industry. Deciding factor in me deciding, really, Zell? Industry, he loves it. I was like, okay, I'm in. I'm on season 2. And I will definitely say it is a little bit anxiety inducing for me, much like what's that show? Suits. Whenever someone lies to get a job, I always, obviously, the show is kind of based around this whole lie, and eventually the lie is going to implode. So I'm very nervous for Harper because, girl, you take a lot of risks for somebody who forged their way there. You know you ain't got no degree. You know you fraudulent paperwork. Why you be taking them risks? And then they be telling her, Harper, you can't say anything. You know you can't say anything about it. What did she do? Next scene, be saying something about it. It's but it's so good. And one of the things that I love and I'm so fascinated by is Yaz and Harper's relationship. I love that they are both women, minority women, right? And they go about things so differently. We often hear Harper refer to like being in certain situations as a Black woman, woman of color, or Black woman or mixed. I'm not sure if Harper's fully Black, but Black. And then Yaz, who I'm not sure what nationality or race Yaz is, but she's not white. How she moves through things, especially with, the quote unquote pretty privilege, and in this male dominated workforce. I'm so fascinated by their friendship as well. They are peak frenemies. And you know what? I've had frenemies in my life. It's so interesting to me because for me, I was like, I got to a point, and I've talked about it on here before, like I could not have frenemies. I can't like do that. It's too old. And obviously this is just like I just said earlier about rom-coms and, things are unrealistic. I was like, should I have frenemies again? I'm like, no, bitch, no, absolutely not. You can't deal with that type of stress in your life anymore. But them, oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with them. I'm obsessed with them hating each other. I'm obsessed with them loving each other because when they are good, they're good. And when they're bad, I'm like, oh my God. When they're bad, I'm mostly on Harper's side. I haven't seen anything yet that has made me be on Yaz's side because I also kind of love Rob. I'm sorry. Okay, listen. When Yaz had that boyfriend, what was his name? Seb, in season 1, I was like, girl, dump him. Like, I don't know what the fuck is going on, but dump him. And I was all for it because I thought it was like kind of clear that Seb was cheating on her. I was all for her cheating back a little bit. And, y'all know, in the words of friend of the pod, friend in real life, Pet Shop Boy, cheat back a little bit. Cheat back. Okay, I was all for her doing that. But the way she was playing with Rob in the first season, I was like, kind of love it. It's kind of hot. Love it. But then season 2, I'm kind of like, yes, girl, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? And the way that she does, kind of flex her wealth and kind of, she offers her wealth and she offers what she has in a way of friendship. But then when you don't really appreciate her the way that she thinks she deserves to be appreciated for the things that she's done for you, that's when she kind of like turns on you. And I've been friends with somebody like that before, and it is not fun. It's because it's like you're indebted to them all the time, and it's like, maybe I just want you to be like there for me and be a friend and like listen to me and not be judgy and not like throw money at things and all that stuff. So I'm obsessed with them. I'm very interested to see. My goal was to be caught up by the time it premiered, but obviously I'm not because I started watching His and Hers. Woo! I thought I knew at the end of episode 5. I was like, oh, okay, all right, that makes sense. And I was screaming at the end of episode 4 when we realized who was who. I was like Megan was like, girl, calm down. But I was like, ow, ow, ow. And then we got through 5 and I was like, okay, that makes sense. Cool. And then when we got to 6, I was like, okay, the after effects. She started reading that letter. I was like, bitch. Oh, bitch. Oh, bitch. I was like, let me tell you something. Well, I didn't feel bad for anybody who got killed in that show, but I really didn't feel bad for the sister. Sorry, not sorry. First of all, terrible mother. Terrible mother. And y'all know I don't like to talk about mamas, but that she's fictional. Terrible mother. Okay. Secondly, just mean. You ain't learned nothing? You ain't learned nothing since high school? Okay, girl. Anyways, you should watch His and Hers on Netflix. Only 6 episodes. Very, very good. Now, let's get into the meat and potatoes. If you follow me on social media, because I have, even though I haven't been on the pod, I have very much so been active on social still. You know that Heated Rivalry has absolutely taken over my life. I am a woman obsessed. Listen, my friend was like, oh, you have to watch this show. I think it's going to be good. You'll like it. And I was like, okay. I watched the first 2 episodes. After episodes 1 and 2, I was like, well, hold on. I thought the whole season was out. He was like, no, it's not out yet. And it just got, after episodes 1 and 2, I was already really hooked because I love it, enemies to lovers. I love it, enemies to lovers, and I love a yearning. I love yearning, okay? I said, oh, I found out it was a book, so I was like, okay, I'll read the book. I read the book Heated Rivalry. Actually, I actually started and I read it's the Game Changer series. I don't know why I'm explaining this to y'all. Like y'all know it's taken over the world right now. But I read Game Changer first, which is Scott and Kip's book. Then I read Heated Rivalry, Shane and Ilya. Then I was going to go straight into The Long Game, because that's one of my really good friends. She only read Shane and Ilya's books, and she was like, she's just not interested in reading the others. But I kind of got like some advice online from online forums, and somebody was like, you don't have to read all of them, but they were like, I would recommend reading Role Model into The Long Game, because Role Model takes place in the same like timeline as The Long Game, and you'll get more context. So that's what I did, and I actually really did enjoy Role Model more than I thought I was going to. Ilya is very heavily in that book, and then into The Long Game, and I love Game. That is Shane and Ilya's second book. I thought I loved Heated Rivalry. I really did. I love the book The Long Game, and I don't know if that's unpopular. There's a lot of critiques about The Long Game, and I've actually read The Long Game twice because there's a lot going on. Okay. The fandom is a trap, but I want to say that I think there's a lot of weird projection and protection of these characters, and then same thing with the actors. So there's a lot of fans of the books say that Rachel, the author, is neglectful the way she writes Shane, or that she doesn't like Shane. And I actually don't think that that's it at all. Shane is just different than Ilya. We know Shane is autistic. Ilya is not. Shane with Shane being autistic, he has, and being gay and having these realizations, he has so much more to work through. And the first time I read The Long Game, I will say, I was like, I didn't hate Shane in The Long Game. I was just like, God, he's being bratty. And to be fair, in one of my favorite things about The Long Game is Shane's inner monologue. When he says certain things, he's like, I know I sound like a bitch right now, but I don't care. And I was like, you know what? Same. I'm the same way. Like sometimes he says something, he's like, and he's like, he knows he sounds bitchy. And I love it. So, and I also think for me, when I was reading it, that comes more into, for me, that's more Shane coming into his true self, because as we know, they're hockey players, and you see it in Heated Rivalry in the show, and you see it in the Heated Rivalry book. A lot of Shane's comebacks and shit are like, fuck you, and it's overly broy. So to me, when he would be like snappy or anything like that, and then admit like, God, I sound like a bitch right now, I loved it, because we're getting more authentic Shane, not the Shane that he thinks he needs to be because he is this pro athlete, this mega hockey star. But I will say I don't think he's badly written. The one thing that I do want to discuss, that is the projection/protection, which is something that's included in the show, is the scene that Jacob Tierney added in the club that's with Miles and Rose. So you should know, if you've seen it, you should know what I'm talking about. When Shane is dancing with Rose in the club, Miles comes up and kind of comes around the back of Shane, and he's dancing up on him, and he kisses his neck. A lot of people were like, why is he pushing up on him like that? That's weird. Tell him to back up. And then it kind of turned into people being like, the only reason y'all are saying that is because Miles is black. Y'all know I am the first person to try and clock like ignorance, and I get it. It's 2025. We want to all be aware of ignorance. I don't think that's why. So first part of this, I think that didn't happen in the book. So book readers, like I remember when I saw it, I was like, this is weird, because Shane would freak out by that. He is like very aware after he starts sleeping with Ilya and he thinks he might be gay. He's very aware of like other men. He would not, that would not go. So as a book reader, I was like, But then that whole club scene is so beautifully shot to me, because when you think about the rest of the scene as a whole, when Shane walks away and he is staring at Ilya, he does, if I remember correctly in the book, he does get caught staring at Ilya and him make eye contact, but it's more symbolism in the show, because at this point we know that episode 4 is called Rose. What happens earlier in the episode, Shane and Ilya they've been hooking up for like 2 years now on the regular. Ilya is really like starting to yearn for Shane, and he does that, kind of, I'm using air quotes here, grand gesture of making him the tuna melt, asking him to stay at his house overnight, things that they don't do. And then they do, they fraught. And Ilya says Shane's name for the first time as, they're in the moment. And Shane freaks out and he's like, I have to go. And the next thing you know, Shane is in the media dating Rose Landry, and Ilya is spiraling. Like, I think that Connor Story did an amazing job, like, portraying, and Jacob Tierney, they did an amazing job portraying that spiraling, because I definitely saw it. But if you read the books, Ilya was unfucking well when Shane started dating Rose Landry. Like, he was like, oh no, I done lost my motherfucking man. Like, what? He was not good. Okay. So I think for me, what I saw in the symbolism of that club scene, obviously Shane and Ilya were not standing there in real life. They were not standing there just staring at each other in the middle of the club. That was symbolic. To me, the scene read as, it's finally time for Shane to come to be honest with himself, which is that he is gay. He's not bisexual. He's not confused. He's not, like, in the book, he refers to himself as like, he's like, he refers to himself as a pervert at one point, for like thinking he can only like get off with Ilya. He does, like, that's how it, like, he doesn't even like, before he's like, okay, I think I'm gay, he is like, I'm not gay, I just like Ilya, like, kind of, right? So I think the symbolism with him dancing with Rose and then Miles behind his back kissing him on the neck like that and like pushing up on him, that was a symbolic of like, it's time for Shane to really come to terms with who he is and what this is, because he is now in a very high profile relationship, but he has Ilya still in his mind. He is still thinking of men. And we know that because then what happens, he goes home with Rose. We see his inner thoughts when he is having sex with Rose, which is he is thinking of Ilya, right? Then into episode 5, the best fucking episode of television ever, where right from the start, they have that conversation. Rose has a conversation and she's like, I don't think you're into this. I think you're gay. Right. So I'm sorry. It's really not about like Miles being black or anything like that. If you read the books and you know that Shane, the character, like, would have freaked out by that. But since we don't have that inner monologue, Jacob Tierney had to do something to, again, symbolism, right? I was like, okay, I again, I get it, the discourse, I really, really do. But Shane is a character also that like kind of deals with a lot of internalized homophobia. And you do kind of get that in his inner monologue in the second book. And I'm interested to see how Jacob Tierney relays that, because by the time the long game comes around, some people do know about Shane and Ilya outside of his family. They get walked in on by a retired hockey player who is mentioned in the first season of Heated Rivalry. And little do they know at that point that hockey player is also gay, and he has his own book and he ends up coming out, and they go on a double date with that other queer hockey player and his boyfriend. And the boyfriend is very feminine presenting, and Shane's inner monologue, he like kind of stares at him, and he's like kind of, I don't want to say all the way uncomfortable, but kind of, because he says in his mind, like his inner monologue, he says he always thought that maybe he wasn't gay because he wasn't like that. He wasn't a super feminine man. And to him, that was like the only representation, gay representation, I'm using air quotes there if you're just listening, that he saw. So that was another reason that aided into him thinking that he wasn't gay, of course, on top of like being in that sport that throws around a lot of homophobic slurs and things like that. So yeah, that's just one thing that I wanted to discuss from the show, because, sometimes online it's like, again, I get it. We all want to, it's 2025. We want to make sure that we're calling out ignorance, but I truly don't think that was that. If you're a book reader, if you picked up on things, I think you kind of know. But I am so excited because Rachel did, announced that there's going to be a third Shane and Ilya book called Unrivaled. The reason I love them, I love the story of them getting together. I definitely do. One thing about Shane and Ilya, especially Ilya, he gonna cry. Ilya be crying, and I love that Ilya be crying. I love it. I don't know why. Like he will boo-hoo, and I love it. But I love the long game even more, even though I love like watching them get together. I love watching them be a couple together and try to navigate a lot of things, especially because they were so hot and heavy at first and their relationship was mainly built on sex. To watch them navigate a lot of this stuff and still maintain their love for each other, I just really like that about the books, and I'm interested to see what's going to happen in the newest book. So yeah, I just wanted to get those thoughts out. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. This is definitely longer than I thought it was going to be, but I feel like it's a good episode to return to. I will be back later in the week with a guest. I cannot wait. Don't forget to, of course, like, comment, subscribe if you're over on YouTube. Don't forget to rate and review if you are just listening to the audio, and I'll talk to y'all later.